Hi everyone, welcome to Intellipaat's YouTube channel. In today's session, we will be learning about networking in Linux.
So before we move on with our live session, please subscribe to our channel.
And also, if you want upcoming updates, please hit the bell icon and also leave a like if you enjoy our content. What is networking in Linux? So first, what do you think when somebody says networking? What would be the first idea which comes when you hear the word network? So basically a network is a combination or a group of multiple computers which are connected together. So right now a group of interconnected computers are called as a network. So let's say there are multiple computers with Linux running on them connected to each other, and so you can call them a network. Now working on networks and handling them would be called as networking. So a network is a group of computers interconnected, and handling that and managing that would be called as networking. So most of you would be doing a different course in order, also you would be learning Linux right now. But if you are going to become a Linux administrator, a system administrator who mainly works on Linux servers, then obviously you need to learn all of these concepts. So first, a system administrator's routine tasks include configuring, maintaining, troubleshooting, and managing servers and networks within data centers. So if a particular system administrator is managing a data center, obviously that administrator should know all of these things, as well as he should know how to handle networks within the data centers itself. Now there are numerous tools and utilities in Linux designed for the administrative purposes. So there are so many different commands and tools which are already existing in the Linux system which can help you to network a system. It can be a group of systems connected or just a single system where you can do networking. Now, the four common tasks are configuring, maintaining, troubleshooting, and managing servers and networks. So, first, configuring in the sense, basically installing softwares and patching them up and updating the servers. And then maintaining again comes around the same thing. After you have configured, obviously you'll have to maintain that softwares. Whenever there is a new update comes in, you will have to do that immediately if there is a need. So you'll have to update the latest softwares, keep the server up to date. And then troubleshooting, whenever there is an error or a bug, you will have to fix it immediately so that your servers can go to work, so they don't need to stop working. And then finally, managing servers and networks. So you'll not be working on one single server. So let's say you have 100 servers, so all the 100 servers should always have the same up-to-date information in them. So you don't need to actually go to every single server and maintain them, because it is all connected in a network, and obviously you will have a server from where you can manage the entire network, and you can upload and download content from every single server, every single client from the server, and also update them directly from the server. So for that you need to know how exactly to work with it, so how exactly to manage those servers as well as the networks. Now, why do we need networking? We saw what exactly is networking. It is basically maintaining a group of interconnected computers. So why do we need it? First, share resources across the network. So let's say now coming to a real-time use case. So let's say we are working in a firm and all of us are using Linux for developing or whatever a company it might be, selling a product or anything. So everybody is using Linux and it's an interconnected so it is whenever you connect your Ethernet cable, that would be your LAN cable. So basically you will be connected to the network and everybody have a common shared public network. So let's say your building has 5 floors and there is a guy in the first floor trying to share some resources with a guy in the 5th floor. So now this guy doesn't need to copy the files in a pen drive, go all the way to 5th floor, give it to him and wait until he copies and get the pen drive back. Instead, they are already connected in a network, so he can just send the files directly through the network to the guy in the 5th floor. He doesn't even need to be connected to the internet. He can directly send it using the LAN. So that is why you need it. That is one of the reasons, sharing resources. And another thing is communicate across the network. So you can basically make a complete team work on it. So Linux, as you know, multiple users can use one particular Linux operating system. So obviously multiple users, if they're using it, you can communicate with other users as well. So that is one of the reasons why do you need networking. So these are the two main reasons. One is sharing resources, second one is communicating. networking commands. So first let me show you what are the commands we'll be looking at in this session. So we'll be looking at ifconfig and ping, then wget and curl, ssh, scp and ftp. So once we've seen that, we'll also look at firewall tools after that, but first we'll be looking at these 7 different commands. One would be ifconfig, then ping, wget and curl, ssh, scp and ftp. So let's get started with it. Okay, so now first we are going to look at ifconfig. Okay, so now what exactly is ifconfig command does? So now kernel links up the software side to the hardware side using network interface. So using this command you can configure them. So obviously your system has a software which is your operating system, but that operating system is running on the hardware of your computer. So now there obviously should be a connection between these two, because only using the hardware you can configure a network, because only through an hardware you can plug in the LAN cable. But once you plugged in the LAN cable, there should be a software running which detects that. So how can you do that? So for that, to configure that, you use the ifconfig command. So now let us see this as well. So now you can see here, kernel links up the software side. Yeah, this was the thing. And here you can basically check out just one particular port over here. I'm just checking the ENP0S3 port, and it will give the net mask, the broadcast, it will give the MAC ID, and you can see the Ethernet MAC, and here the flag, and what else? So dropped packets, how many packets have been transferred. So if you see this packets and bytes, so basically internet connectivity is available. And coming down, sudo if down, so you can basically down a particular connection. I've downed this particular connection and I again activated that connection. So now let me go to the terminal and let us try the ifconfig command out. So you can see I am connected to the internet. So first let me disconnect and try the ifconfig command. Yeah, so okay, 1 second, I'll just make this a little smaller so that the command comes in the same page. Yeah, so ifconfig, and now you can see there is ENP0S3. Here these many packages have been sent, 5.14 MB. This is the Ethernet cable which I have connected. And then you have other flag LO and virtual boxes flag. So here there is no packets transferred, you can see that over here. So no internet connectivity, no packets transferred, no internet connectivity. Let's run ifconfig once again. So it's the same. So now you can run ifconfig ENP0S3, and it only shows that particular port. So now this is the case. Now let me connect and let us run this command once again. So you'll have to wait some time until it sends more packets. So for that, what we can do is we can open Firefox. So it's not ready yet. Now it's ready. So let's do some just open Google and do some things so that we can check the change here. You can see this. I did an update, then also I installed MySQL. So this is the total packets which I took in today. So that's what it's showing. After I logged in, this is the amount of megabytes I used. Now Mozilla is running. Okay, so instead of going into Mozilla, I'm going to just do a sudo yum update over here. And a small update has occurred, but not much. And now you can see it is 5.6 MB because 0.2 MB of data has been transferred. Maybe it went out, or maybe we downloaded it. So when I opened Mozilla also, it opened the website. Obviously it would have downloaded this HTML page, and once it was downloading this, it would have consumed some data. So that is the reason it is changing. Now let me just close this. Okay, now coming back to ifconfig. So first is your Ethernet, so that's what it's showing here, and it has internet connectivity. Second is LO, and this is basically your local host, and you can see the home address over here, 127.0.0.1. so local host, I have not connected to it yet, so obviously there would be no packets transferred. And this is the virtual box's local IP address, that is 192.1.6 sites and 0.122.1. Okay, now we've seen ifconfig. Now let us check out the next command, which is ping. But before that, we'll also do the if down and if up parts. Now sudo if down enp0 s3 successfully deactivated. And yeah, so right now this obviously would have been deactivated, and here you can see the internet connectivity was stopped. I've started once again, and I'll run this once again, and now you can see here the internet connectivity would have vanished. You can check that once again by just going a little back. So once I've done this if down, it would have stopped this particular port, the Ethernet port, and the internet connectivity would have stopped. If you want to start it again, you can just use if up, and now you can see internet is connected over here. And yeah, so this is how you can use the ifconfig command, and you'll also get your IP addresses of your VirtualBox, of your Ethernet cable. So you'll get all of these IP addresses and then subnet masks using the ifconfig command. Now next we'll be looking at the ping command. So this would be the ping command. So ping command has a lot of uses. So the first basic use would be to check whether your internet is connected or not. So I've typed in google.com. So my system is able to send in a packet to google.com telling that are you connected with me. So if Google acknowledges that and sends back a response, then we will get this, and you can see here 64 bytes from this particular location went to this, and you can see the time took us 19.8 milliseconds to receive. And yeah, so pretty much that's the case. And that is ping intellipaat.com. And again, so it's pretty slow because it's not able to fetch information from intellipaat.com, because intellipaat.com has a firewall. Google is more of a public site, but if I use www.intellipaat.com, it's able to fetch it because this is the complete address, and you can just click here and go to the website itself. Okay, so now let me just stop it. So after you've stopped it, once you've used Control-C.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Linux administration online training mentored by industry experts, the course link of which is given in the description below. Now let's continue with the session.
You can check out how many packets was transmitted, how many was received, and you can see the packet loss. You can see that over here. So now let us do one more, and this time I'm going to use the count flag. So -c 5 www.intellipaat.com. So just check what will happen this time. So this time it only sent 5 packages. It only sent 5 packets. It checked whether internet is connected or not. That's it for us. So it just sent 5 packets, received 5 packets. Simple. Because if you just run the ping command, it will be running on forever, and you will have to interrupt it to stop it. So a way to check whether a computer can communicate with another computer over the network. So the basic thing is not to check whether Google can communicate with you or not. Obviously Google can communicate with you. Obviously Intellipaat.com can communicate with you because they are hosted in the net, and obviously they are servers. The main task of the ping command would be, if you have another server running which is connected in the same network, you can type in the ping command and the address of it, but I don't have any connected. So I'm just running this because it's my local IP and I'm able to communicate with my own system. So yes, it is working. So if I do an ifconfig, you can check that as well. And you can see here the IP of my PC is basically this. So that is the reason I ran that. So you can also run 4. It won't, because the inet is 1, host not reachable, because we do not have any so we do not have any server running in this particular IP, which is 0.4. So we were sending from 192.168.122.1. This is the IP of my server to this particular server, but this server does not exist, so it is not able to reach that particular server. and you can see 8 packets transmitted, 0 received, plus 6 errors. So this particular system was transmitted 8 packets, but that server did not receive it and was not able to acknowledge it. So obviously that is the reason. But if you do 192.168.1.122.1, obviously it is able to fetch, and you can see the time taken is also very less. It is because it is the same system, it is pinging the same system, and it is just checking whether it is able to communicate with it or not. Okay, so this is one thing we've seen. It's a very good tool, which is a very good command, ping. Now we've seen ifconfig and ping coming down. Okay, so also here you can see I am pinging 172.217.163.164. so I also want to show that. So I'll ping Google. So now while you ping this, obviously it will give you the IP. So I don't know why it's okay. So this is the IP address of Google. I'm going to copy this. I'll copy the IP of Google and let me ping this, and you can also see 10 received. There was a small packet loss as well, and if I ping this, it's working. It's the same as this, but it's working again. So now let's do one thing. I'll just open Google Chrome in my Windows system and paste this IP here, and this should take us to google.com because that IP address is Google's IP address. That is what our ping command is pinging, and you'll get the IP address of a particular system. So even if I ping Intellipaat.com, I'll get the IP, but the problem with this is, I'll copy this and paste it, but I'll not be able to use direct IP address of Intellipaat's website because they are using Cloudflare RayID. That is, they are using a very strong firewall, which I'll not be able to use. I'll have to type in the domain name directly. Only then I'll be able to view their website. But obviously their IP address is this. Now we've done the ping command. Let's go back. Now let us check out wget and curl. So first let us look at wget. So a command used to retrieve content from web servers. Wget is a pretty common command used. So let's say you have a file in another server and you want to download it. So normally if it is a GUI, if you're using Mozilla Firefox, you just download that PDF by clicking on the download option in the viewer. But if you're using a command line, obviously you will not be able to do that. So to do that, you can use the wget command. You can use the wget command, and after that just provide the link. Wget will take care of everything. It will download the file for you. So right now I've opened curl. So I'll just go here. I'll just copy this by clicking on enable editing. So I'm just going to copy this because I'm going to download this PDF. So let's do an ls. There are no PDFs like that. So now wget and this. So now this should download my file. So you can see here it is giving me the date and time. It is giving me the address. It is giving it's basically resolving docs.aws.amazon.com and amazon.com's website. docs.aws.amazon.com's IP address is this, and then after resolving the IP, it connected to that IP through port number 443, which is basically through HTTPS protocol. And once it gets connected, it sent an HTTP request. And it was awaiting for a response. If the response is sent back, it will send a 200 OK message. So 200 OK message in the sense the server is running successfully, and you can basically download something from there. You can download the file from there. So once it is successful, once the HTTP request sent and the response is given, and when the response is 200, then it shows you the size of the file, and it downloaded the file. And if I do an ls, I should be seeing ec2.ug.pdf file over here. So now I'll just copy this IP and again paste it. So it is taking me to docs.aws.amazon.com because this is the IP address of that website. So resolving this particular IP address in the sense, this data, that is docs.aws.amazon.com, and this IP address will be residing in a server. So this particular server, which is our server, sent a request, HTTP request to that server to check whether this particular name, that is docs. So this is the site, right? We did not have the IP address, we just had the domain name. So obviously it has to resolve the IP address to download the file. So we had the domain name, that is docs.aws.amazon.com. So our server sent a request to the server which has this particular domain name, and obviously once you've checked this particular domain name, if that HTTP request is confirmed, so this particular website's domain name will obviously have an IP address corresponding to it. So that IP address will be retrieved back and given to you, and then that IP will be used to log in and connect to it. So let's try this once again. So I'll paste this IP and type in 443. Let's see what happens. Yeah, because I cannot do that, but it opens. So it connected using port number 443, but I'll not be able to do that. That's fine. Directly I'll not be able to do that. And we've used the wget command properly. And this is how you use wget command. I'll also state the difference between wget and curl. First, let me show you this. Now curl, a command to transfer data using various protocols. So wget can only do HTTP and HTTPS, but curl can do every single type: FTP, TCP, UDP, and then also HTTP and HTTPS. So curl can be used for every single type. wget can be used for HTTP and HTTPS connections, and it will be more useful. So now let's do this. I already have the domain name of Intellipaat over here. You can see this is a blog, what is data science. So I'm just going to download the contents of this particular domain name, which is going to be the HTML content of this particular domain name. Once I've downloaded that, if I open that file, I should be able to see the entire content of the file downloaded. So let's try this. The same thing, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. So command not found. Okay, so if the command is not found, sorry, I know what exactly is the mistake. Yeah, so now it should work, and you can see this is how curl looks. So total, this is the total size. Received, this is the received side. So basically there was no loss of packets. It was downloaded completely, that is why the percentage is 100. And then average download 231 KB. Speed, it got downloaded very fast, so it's not giving that. Okay, so now if I do this, there should be an index.intel.html file. So now I'm going to open the intel.html file in Nano, and you can see the entire contents of it. Okay, fine. So now let me open Firefox and just open this particular file within that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I know where the file is. It is in home /intellipaat intel.html, and here is the blog page. You have the complete blog page here, even the video is here, because we've downloaded the entire contents of the file, and this is one of the use cases of curl. So let me just close this and get back to the slides. Okay, so that's what curl is, a command to transfer data between multiple various protocols. So this is the only difference. It is basically not curl, it is curl, and this is wget. So guys, I think you understood these two tools. So we've seen ifconfig, ping, wget, and curl. So ifconfig can be used to configure the networks connected to your particular server, and then ping is a command to check out the communication between yours and another server. Wget and curl are commands to download or transfer data. So wget is to retrieve data from web servers. Curl is to transfer data using various protocols between servers.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Linux administration online training mentored by industry experts, the course link of which is given in the description below.
So guys, we have come to the end of our session. I hope you all enjoyed it. For any questions that you have related to coding, you can mention it in the comment sections below.
So thank you so much for attending this session, and meet you in another session.